Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live from Film Fanatic headquarters. It is a Sunday at about 10 o'clock or 9:57. We're actually getting some snow today, so it's pretty nice out. I think we're going to get 7 to 8 inches. It's only the second somewhat of a snowstorm we've had this year. So today is on a movie that I just think is such a masterpiece, and I've been really wanting to get to this. And that is Memories of Murder, directed by Bong Joon-ho. And it is a masterpiece. Bong Joon Ho is a pretty amazing filmmaker. He made a movie a few years ago called Parasite, which was historically a real big game changer for the Academy Awards. He's a Korean director. That movie is just an amazing film, and it was the first time in history where a foreign film won for Best Picture. Incredible film, really a real heavy and complex and layered film, really about class warfare to a degree, but it had so many different elements. It had elements of suspense. It was definitely a melodrama. It even had elements of horror to it involved. Really, really cool movie. But Memories of Murder is I can't say enough uh, amazing things about this movie. Bong Joon Ho is I feel like he is right up there with like Stanley Kubrick. Just incredible. This movie came out in 2003. I bought this movie about 2 years ago. I had heard about it. I actually saw an interview with Quentin Tarantino, and he was talking about movies that he felt that he had seen in the last that have come out in the last decade that were just masterpieces. And this was one of the movies that he talked about. And I had never heard of it, never obviously never seen it. I love Bong Joon Ho tremendously. He's just an incredible director. So I remember ordering it. I didn't even think about it. I ended up ordering it online. I couldn't find it physically anywhere, so I ordered it, and I got this beautiful Criterion Collection version of this film. And it was for Criterion. Criterion, again, they do just high end, top shelf movies all the time. But they also, a lot of their movies are very, very expensive. But I remember getting this fairly cheap. It was actually pretty good, and it's Blu-ray, and it has so many special features on here. It is there's two discs. There's the movie itself, beautiful packaging, just gorgeous. It's got the two discs. It's got all this artwork and just amazing. And this film again is such an extraordinary movie. It really Bong Joon Ho is a master filmmaker. The level of detail, the richness of the story, the narrative, the direction, just the music. I mean, everything is just so incredible and extraordinary. This movie is based. Memories of Murder is based on a true story. It's based on an account or a thing that happened in Korea where there was a rash of killings that happened, and it took place in 1986. And there was a rash of killings that turned out to be committed by one sole person who was a serial killer. And he was wreaking havoc, where at one point Korea was almost in lockdown because he terrorized virtually the entire country. And the movie really deals with, it's centered on these two police officers who are investigating these crimes. But you also see how limited they were, as far as they had no access to like technology like forensics, and how to really collect significant evidence. They they really were, their hands were tied. Obviously they, Korea lives under a brutal dictatorship, but and it shows that. It's also a real interesting film because it shows Korean culture very well. You really get a sense of what it is like to be a citizen in that country. And but it's amazing. There's one scene in particular that always has always like stayed with me after seeing this movie, where on one of the crime scenes they are able to collect some kind of DNA, but they cannot do any of their own tests because they have no support from the government. There's no funding for technology, so they actually have to send these forensics that they collect. They have to send everything to the United States and wait for like an incredibly long period of time until they get the results back. And it's amazing. You get a sense of throughout the film how incredibly frustrating it is for the police department to do their job. And on the other hand, they also show, because of the state of the country, how brutal the police officers are, and the overt police brutality that is used. There's all these scenes where they interrogate people who are possible suspects, and they proceed to just like beat these people up to a pulp. And it's hard to watch, but it's so real and truly frightening. So you have a real eye-opening experience seeing on how the corruption and how this horrible situation is being handled from top to bottom. And the movie itself, again, it's so gorgeous. It's so well done, and it's definitely a hard-boiled thriller. It's a very intense movie. It's a slow burn of a film. It is an incredible murder mystery film. There's so much suspense throughout this entire film. It's just amazing. Just an amazing thing. And it follows this case for a long period of time. And you really get a sense of what these police officers are going through, and their constant, ever mounting frustration because their hands are tied because of the government. And it's an incredible movie. The film actually concludes of where they do not find the killer, and so. And years later, it had come out that the person who was actually responsible, who was the serial killer, was already in prison for some kind of domestic violence charge, and he eventually confessed to killing all of these women. But just an incredible story, incredibly harrowing, and it's such a, if you're a fan of murder mystery films and especially thrillers, this is like one of the best I think ever. And again, Bong Joon Ho is such a high level director, such an incredible director. The scope, the textures, the level of detail for this movie is just incredible. The actors are just incredible. Some of the cast in Memories of Murder were also in Parasite, which won him the Academy Award. Another film that he did in, the other thing that's so interesting about Bong Joon Ho is he's such a genre bending or genre defying director in a lot of ways, particularly around certain films like Parasite, or even Snowpiercer, where he's able to kind of blend. He's made melodramas. He's made murder mystery suspense films and thrillers like this one, Memories of Murder. He's also made horror films. The Host, which came out in 2006, which is a kind of a classic monster movie. And the way he's able to combine elements, where he's able to kind of mix genres together is pretty miraculous. And his films always have this like epic scope in nature. He's just incredible, and I definitely think he's so good that I put him up there with like some of the greatest directors ever, like right up there with like Kurosawa or Scorsese or Stanley Kubrick. I mean, a real visionary, and he has such a unique style and flavor. And all of his films are just so character driven. And I think Memories of Murder again. I watched it for only the second time last week, and this is a movie that I could watch over and over again because there's so many layers. I feel like this movie is like an onion, and there's it's a slow burn. It's kind of a slow film. It's pretty long. It's 2.5 hours, but it's so well crafted, and there's so much cool information. Especially in regards to the crimes that I think with more future watches of this film, you would get more out of it. You would get more interpretations of what's going on throughout the story. It's very layered. It's kind of a complex story, and I just love how you're really put in the shoes of these police officers that are in this like really dire situation, and it's just great. And at the end of the day, I'm a huge fan of thrillers and very suspenseful films. It's obviously a very very dark film too, but it has a cool contrast. It's beautifully shot too. So, but just as it being just a kick-ass thriller, I think it is one of the greatest. It's so well done, and I can't recommend it enough. I've been wanting to talk about this movie for a long time, so here it is. So please check this out. Definitely check out any of the work by Bong Joon-ho, or support any of his films. He's a living legend. So he apparently has a new movie coming out, I think this year. So very excited. So thanks again. This is Jason Dean, and we will see you next time. Peace.